I still remember the exact moment I realized I was wasting my life watching other people win. It was 2:38 a.m. My room was dark except for the glow of my monitor, and I was sitting there in the same hoodie I'd probably been wearing for 2 days straight. No energy drinks left, no motivation left, just me and YouTube. But I wasn't watching like a normal person. I was studying. Every video I clicked felt like a case file. I wasn't even enjoying it anymore. I was rewinding intros, checking timestamps, reading comments like they contained secrets. I had Mr. Beast videos open, some random faceless channels, even creators I didn't like, but they were pulling numbers, so I had to understand why. And the more I watched, the worse I felt. Because I started noticing something I didn't want to admit. It wasn't talent. It wasn't even production. Some of these videos were insanely simple, like embarrassingly simple. Basic titles, basic thumbnails, nothing special if you looked at it emotionally. But the views were insane. And then I saw it. One video from a creator I'd never heard of before. No big branding, no fancy setup, just a normal dude talking into a camera. 4 million views. I clicked it instantly, watched the first 10 seconds, paused, watched again, paused again, and I literally leaned back and said out loud, "How the hell is this working?" Because it didn't make sense. At least, not yet. That's when something flipped in my head. Up until that moment, I thought YouTube was like luck, random hits, algorithm magic. Some people just get picked. But sitting there at almost 3 a.m., eyes tired, brain fried, I started seeing something different. Patterns. Hooks that pulled you in instantly. Titles that triggered curiosity instead of explaining. Thumbnails that didn't show information, they showed emotion. It wasn't random, it was structured chaos. And for the first time, I didn't feel lost. I felt curious, like I had just discovered there was a system hidden under all of this, and nobody had bothered to show me the rules. So I opened a blank document, typed one line at the top, "Reverse engineer viral content." And under it, I wrote something I didn't fully understand yet. If I can find the pattern, I can replicate it. That night, I didn't sleep. I just kept watching, studying, taking notes, not realizing I was about to turn this obsession into something I couldn't turn off. By the next day, I wasn't just watching YouTube anymore. I had a system. At least, I thought I did. I woke up, grabbed my laptop, and went straight back to the same creators I studied last night. No breakfast, no scrolling TikTok, no distractions, just straight into research mode. I made a list. Videos that blew up unexpectedly. Channels that grew from nothing. Different niches. Gaming, commentary, finance, even weird random stuff. And I started breaking everything down like I was solving a puzzle. First thing, the first 5 seconds. I noticed something crazy. Almost every viral video didn't start slow. No greetings, no, "Hey guys, welcome back." They started in the middle of something happening. A problem, a moment, a question, something unfinished. And it hit me. Nobody was watching because they were invited. They were watching because they were pulled in. So I tested it. I opened a doc and wrote 3 random hooks, like, "I lost everything because of one mistake." This video almost didn't get uploaded. People think I'm lying about this. And just staring at them, I felt something shift. It sounded powerful. But I wasn't convinced yet, so I went deeper. I started analyzing thumbnails, and that's where things got even more interesting. No one was explaining. No one was overloading information. It was always one of 3 things: a strong emotion, shock, anger, or disbelief, a clear contrast, before versus after, or a mystery, something missing, something unclear. I leaned back in my chair like, so it's not about showing everything, it's about making people curious enough to click. That was the first real breakthrough. But then I made a mistake. I thought I understood it, so I decided to test it immediately. I made a video. Simple idea. took me like 30 minutes. I used a hook I wrote earlier, basic editing, no overthinking, and I uploaded it thinking, all right, let's see if the pattern works. Then I waited. Refresh, refresh, refresh. Nothing. Literally nothing. No views, no traction, just silence. And I remember sitting there thinking, okay, maybe I'm wrong. But what I didn't realize yet was that I had only learned half the system. And the second half? That was where everything actually starts. I stared at that video sitting at basically 0 views for way longer than I want to admit. At first, it was just confusion, then frustration, then that annoying voice in my head started talking. Yeah, of course it didn't work. You're not one of those people. I almost deleted it. Dead serious. My cursor was hovering over the delete button, and I was this close to just quitting the whole study YouTube like a scientist thing and going back to watching content like a normal person. But then I stopped myself because something didn't add up. If the pattern was real, why didn't it work for me? So I went back. Same creators, same videos, but this time I paid attention to something I ignored before. What happened after the click? Not the hook, not the thumbnail, not the title, the retention. And that's when I noticed the second layer. These videos weren't just interesting at the start. They kept people trapped. There were constant resets. Every 10, 20 seconds, something changed. A new question, a new twist, a small conflict, a promise that wasn't fulfilled yet. It was like the video kept saying, wait, don't leave yet. Something is about to happen. And I realized something uncomfortable. My video, it had none of that. I gave the idea away too fast. No tension, no build-up, no reason to stay. It was like I opened a door and immediately said, okay, that's it, you can go now. So I didn't delete it. Instead, I rewatched it and wrote notes like I was grading my own failure. Then I said out loud, all right, I need to rebuild this from scratch. So I tried again. But this time, I didn't just focus on the idea. I focused on keeping attention alive every few seconds. I rewrote the structure: hook, tension, small reveal, new tension, twist, escalation, over and over. It felt unnatural at first, like I was over-engineering something that should be simple, but I uploaded a second video anyway. And this time, I didn't obsessively refresh right away. I just let it sit, went to make coffee, tried to act normal. But my brain wasn't normal anymore, because I knew I was completely wrong, or I was on the edge of figuring something out that most people never do. And when I finally came back to my screen, something had changed. When I came back to my laptop, I didn't even open YouTube right away. I just sat there for a second, like I was scared of what I was going to see. Because in my head, there were only 2 outcomes. Either nothing changed, or something actually started working. I took a breath, opened the page, and looked at the analytics. And for a second, I thought my internet was glitching. The video wasn't blowing up, it wasn't viral, but it wasn't dead either. It had movement, real movement, impressions, clicks, watch time. Not huge numbers, but active ones. People were actually clicking it, and more importantly, they were staying longer than before. I leaned forward in my chair like, wait, hold on. That's when I realized something important. The first video failed completely, but this one? It was starting to breathe. So I went straight into the retention graph, and there it was. A dip at the beginning, then a spike, then another dip, then recovery. It wasn't perfect, but it wasn't flat. People weren't just clicking and leaving instantly. They were hesitating, thinking, watching a bit longer. And that's when it clicked for me. This wasn't about making a good video. It was about controlling attention like a sequence. I wasn't just uploading content anymore. I was designing behavior. That thought honestly made me sit back because it felt powerful, almost too powerful. So I did what I always did at that point. I went back to studying. But now I wasn't just watching big creators. I was comparing everything. Why did one video keep attention and another lose it? Why did one thumbnail win and another fail? Why did two similar ideas get completely different results? I started noticing tiny differences, wording changes in titles, pacing in the first 30 seconds, how often something new was introduced, even silence used at the right moment. It wasn't random at all. It was engineered. And the more I understood it, the more I stopped thinking like a viewer and started thinking like an algorithm. But that's also when something else started happening. I stopped enjoying videos normally. Every time I watched something, I wasn't just watching anymore. I was dissecting it. And I didn't realize it yet, but that mindset was about to push me into my biggest experiments so far. At some point, I stopped watching YouTube for fun completely. Like, fully. Even when I tried to relax and click something random, my brain wouldn't shut off. I'd catch myself thinking, okay, weak hook, retention drop right here. They should have cut this part. It was annoying, but also addictive, because I could see everything now. The illusion was gone, and that made me dangerous in a way I didn't fully understand yet. So I decided to go bigger, not just another video, a full experiment. I wrote it in my notes like a mission. Make a video that follows every viral pattern I've discovered. Hook engineered, retention structured, title tested, thumbnail designed for curiosity, not explanation. This wasn't random anymore. This was controlled. I spent days on it, rewriting the script over and over, moving sentences around like chess pieces. Every line had a purpose. If it didn't create curiosity, it got deleted. If it didn't push the viewer forward, it didn't exist. At one point, I remember staring at my screen thinking, this is insane. Normal people don't do this. But I wasn't trying to be normal anymore. I just wanted to know if I was right. So I uploaded it. And this time, I didn't even pretend I was calm. I was refreshing every few minutes, then every minute, then basically every 10 seconds. And slowly, something started happening. Views came in faster than before, then comments, then shares, then something I hadn't seen yet. People finishing the video. I opened analytics and saw the retention graph. And for the first time, it wasn't just movement, it was stability. People weren't dropping off immediately. They were staying, watching, following the structure I built without even realizing it. I leaned back and just whispered, no way. Because this wasn't luck. This wasn't randomness. This was repeatable. And that thought changed everything. Because if it's repeatable, then it's scalable. And if it's scalable, then it's only a matter of time before it explodes. But there was one problem I didn't see coming yet. Because the better I got at this, the more I started to realize something uncomfortable about the system itself. And I was about to find out what happens when you push it too far. The next few weeks turned into a blur. I wasn't really making videos anymore. I was running experiments. Every upload had a variable. Change the hook, change the pacing, change the title structure, adjust the thumbnail emotion. Then I'd sit back and watch what happened like I was monitoring a lab test. And the crazy part? It kept working. Not every time, but enough that I started seeing consistency. Views weren't random anymore. They were responding, like I could actually influence them. That's when things started getting dangerous, because success does something weird to your brain when you're studying it too closely. You stop thinking, is this good? And start thinking, how far can I push this? So I pushed harder. I made thumbnails more extreme, hooks more intense, titles more emotional. Not fake, just amplified. And yeah, it worked. One video hit higher than anything I had before. Then another started picking up faster than expected. For a moment, it felt like I cracked it, like I had finally understood the system everyone else was guessing at. But there was something I ignored. Something small at first. The comments started changing. At first, it was hype. This is insane. How is this not bigger? But then I started seeing, feels a bit clickbaity. Something feels off, too engineered. I brushed it off, told myself they don't understand how it works. But deep down, I felt it too, because I wasn't just creating anymore. I was optimizing, and there's a difference. One day, I uploaded another video I was really confident in. Everything was perfect on paper. Hook tested, retention structure tight, thumbnail designed for maximum curiosity. I expected it to pop off, but it didn't. It performed okay. Not bad, not great, just average. And that hit harder than failure, because I couldn't blame luck anymore. I couldn't say the algorithm didn't push it. I had followed my own system, and it didn't explode. That night, I sat there staring at my analytics for a long time, and for the first time since I started all of this, I felt something I didn't like: doubt. Because if I could control attention, then why wasn't I controlling it every time? And worse, what if I was starting to misunderstand the very thing I thought I had mastered? I didn't know it yet, but I was about to learn the difference between understanding patterns and relying on them too much. I didn't upload anything for a few days after that, which sounds small, but for me at that point, it felt wrong, like I was breaking my own system. I kept opening YouTube Studio, staring at the last video, refreshing it like something was going to magically change. But it didn't. It just sat there. Average. That word kept looping in my head, because I had spent weeks learning how to push videos into something bigger, and now I had proof that it wasn't guaranteed, and that messed with me more than I expected. So I went back to the beginning. Not new creators, not new strategies, the first videos I ever studied, the ones that made me obsessed in the first place. And I watched them again, but differently this time. Not as a scientist trying to decode a system, but as a viewer. And that's when I noticed what I had lost. Those videos weren't just optimized. They had personality, risk, imperfection, moments that didn't feel engineered. They felt human. And I realized something I didn't want to admit. In trying to crack YouTube, I had started removing the very thing that made it work in the first place. So I changed my approach again. This time, I didn't start with patterns. I started with an idea I actually cared about, something I would make even if nobody watched it. Then I added structure later, not the other way around. I uploaded it without overthinking, no obsessive refreshing, no panic checking. I just let it go. And hours later, I checked it. It wasn't the biggest video I ever made, but it felt different. People weren't just watching, they were reacting, talking, staying, sharing. And that's when it finally clicked on a deeper level. The algorithm wasn't something you solved, it was something you worked with. Patterns could get attention, but meaning kept it. And if you only chase formulas, you eventually start competing with everyone else doing the same thing. I leaned back in my chair and just laughed a little to myself, because I spent all that time trying to crack YouTube like a machine, when the real answer was still simple the whole time. Show up, make something real, and don't lose yourself in the process of trying to win. And for the first time since I started this whole journey, I wasn't studying anymore. I was just creating. Before you go, hit that like button and subscribe for more unbelievable stories just like this one. See you in the next story.